So Jai Hind everyone. Today we will start with midpoint circle drawing algorithm, and in our last video we have learnt about line drawing algorithm, that was DD algorithm and Bessonham's line drawing algorithm. Then we started circle drawing algorithm, and in circle drawing algorithm we have already learnt about Bessonham's circle drawing algorithm. Now today we will start with midpoint circle drawing algorithm. So basically algorithms are different, the way is different, but the objective is same, that is drawing a circle. So given the center point and radius of circle, midpoint circle drawing algorithm attempt to generate the points, just a second, attempts to generate the points of one octant. So same as in case of Bessonham's algorithm, it was also generating the points of one octant, and with the help of the geometric symmetry we can find out the point of other octants also. Okay, so same we are doing in this midpoint circle algorithm. We will generate the point of one octant only, and with the help of symmetry geometry we can generate the points of other octant or quadrant. So procedure of generating a algorithm or finding out the intermediate points on an octant on an arc. First, if the center point is given as x0 y0 and the radius of the circle is given, then in this scenario we will assume that center is at origin. If the value of center is given like in Bessonham's, then we can add the value of the center to the respective points, which intermediate points which we will find out, and we can actually find out the plotting values of x and y. As we have done in Bessonham's, same we will do here, but just the algorithm is different, other things are same. So we are taking x not equals to 0 and y not equals to r. So first we will calculate the decision parameter. So decision parameter formula for this is p naught equals to 1 minus r. Okay, p naught equals to 1 minus r. Then suppose the point, initial point is xk yk, and the next point is xk plus 1 and yk plus 1. So in order to find out the next point, that is xk plus and yk plus 1, we use the decision parameter, that is pk. So for starting the iteration, these are the conditions. If pk is less than 0, then we will increment 1 in x and y will remain same, and the next value of pk will be pk plus 2xk plus 1 plus 1. And if pk is greater than equals to 0, then we will follow this. We will increment in x and we will decrement in y, and the new decision parameter value will be pk minus 2xyk plus 2xk plus 1 plus 1. So steps are same, just the algorithm is different. Okay, algorithm is different, steps are same as in case of Bessonham's. So we will assume that the center is at origin. Obviously if the value of center is given, then we will add the value of x and y coordinate to the coordinates, intermediate coordinates in a table in the last step. Okay, then after finding out, if here it is given, if the value of x0 y0 is not 0 0, then we will add the value of this x0 y0 to the points which we have calculated using the algorithm. So plotting value of x and y will be equals to xc plus x0 and yc plus y0, where xc and yc denotes the current value of x and y coordinates, and we will keep repeating this iteration till x plot is greater than equals to y plot. Okay, understood? So once generating the quadrant, then with the help of the symmetry geometry, we can find out the value of other octants or other quadrants, and likewise we can generate a circle. Okay, so we should understand this with the help of a problem. So given the problem is, coordinate is given, that is 0 0, it means the center of the circle is at origin, and the radius is given as r equals to 10, r equals to 10. So radius is given, origin is center, so we can find out the initial decision parameter p naught, which is equals to 1 minus r. So p naught equals to 1 minus r. See, this is p naught. Okay, this is the decision parameter for initially starting the iteration. Initially for starting the iteration, this will be the decision parameter. So p naught equals to 1 minus r. So here 1 minus r means 1 minus 10, which is equals to minus 9. So minus 9, it means this is the pk for starting, which is less than 0. So in this scenario, when pk is less than 0, we have seen that we will increment 1 in x and y will remain same. Let's see, here it is. So when pk is less than 0, then in this case we will increment 1 in x. So we have taken x, the initial x is what? 0. So new value of x, current value of x will be what? 0 plus 1. We will increment 1 in x. Okay, and in case of y, it will remain same. So y value is 0. So new value will be y, that is, there will be no increment. So it will, current value will remain same, that is 0. And the new decision parameter, just keep it plus 1. So pk value is given, which we have calculated, is what? Minus 9. And this is what? Xk plus 1. The new value, current value is 1. So minus 9 plus 2 plus 1 will result in minus 6. So new value pk plus 1, new value comes out to be minus 6, and this again becomes pk for the next iteration. For the next iteration, this value pk plus 1 becomes pk, and this minus 6 is again less than 0. So in case of this, if minus 6 is less than 0, then we will follow again this same iteration. So likewise, if we continue these steps, then we can see minus 9 was the number which we have find out, and this is less than 0. So we have find out xk equals to 1, yk we are taking at 10, that is the radius which we are considering, and pk plus 1 equals to minus 6. Okay, so we will keep repeating, and this will be the table which we will achieve. So first initial value of pk which we get is minus 9. So for minus 9, what was the iteration? That if pk is less than 0, then in that case we will increment 1 in x and y will remain same. So we are starting with 0 10. These are the value, x equals to 0 and y equals to r. That was the initial condition which we have taken. So when starting, if pk is less than 0, in that scenario, what was the condition? X will be incremented by 1 and y will remain same. So x is incremented by 1, that is plus 1 we have done, and y will remain same. Okay, now next is, with the help of this decision parameter minus 9, we can calculate the value of pk plus 1, which is minus 6, which again becomes the initial parameter for the next iteration. So initial decision parameter for the next iteration is minus 6. So again pk is less than 0. So for pk less than 0, x will be incremented by 1 and y will remain same. So we can see x is incremented by 1 and y will remain same. Okay, now again we will calculate the next decision parameter with the help of this pk, which comes out to be minus 1, which becomes the initial decision parameter for the next iteration, and again this value is less than 0. For again less than 0, x will be incremented by 1. So x is incremented by 1 and y remains same. Okay, now using this as an initial parameter, we can find out again this pk plus 1, which comes out to be 6. Now this 6 will be initial decision parameter for the next iteration, and 6 is what? Pk is greater than 0 in this step. When pk is greater than 0, then in this scenario x will be incremented by 1 and y will be decremented by 1. Okay, so we can see x is incremented by 1 plus 1 and y is decremented by 1, that is minus 1, which comes out to be 4, 9. Now again we will find out the value of decision parameter. What is the decision parameter for the next is pk plus minus 3. Now minus 3 will be a initial decision parameter for the next iteration. So for next iteration, this will be the decision parameter, and minus 3 means pk is less than equals to 0. For less than equals to 0, x will be incremented and y will remain same. So x is incremented by 1, that is plus 1, and y will remain same. Okay. Now again we will find out the next decision parameter value with the help of this minus 3 pk value, and it comes out to be 8. So using 8 as the decision parameter for the next iteration, it means pk is greater than equals to 0. In case the pk is greater than equals to 0, it means x will be incremented by 1, x will be incremented by 1 and y will be decremented by 1. So 6, 8. So this is how we will proceed. We will find out the values of this octant using this procedure, and once we find out the value of this octant, then with the help of symmetry geometry we can find out the value of other octants also, and then we can draw a circle using this algorithm. Now second problem is concerned when the center is given. Center is not origin, it means it has some value. Then in this case we will add this origin value to all the current values which we have find out. I am not going in detail, just come to this last. So this is, these are the points, quadrant. Yeah, you can see here till here these are the values of one octant. So in this case these are the values which we have find out using the algorithm, and if center is given, that was 4, 4, then in this scenario we will add, if the center given was not, it was not origin, it was given 4, 4, then we will add 4 in all the coordinates to get the actual coordinate. So we have added 4, 4. If the origin is 4, 4, if the origin is not 0, the center of the circle is not origin, that is 0, 0. If the center of circle is 4, 4, then we will add this 4 and 4 in x1, value of x is what? 4 and y is 4. Then we will add the value of this x and y in the coordinates which we have found using the algorithm. So here 0 plus 4 is 4, 10 plus 4 is 14, and likewise 1 plus 4 is 5, and 10 plus 4 14, 2 plus 4 6, 10 plus 4 14, 3 plus 4 7, and it will continue like this. So we can find out the actual, these are the actual values for plotting the circle. So I hope you understood the method of midpoint circle circle drawing algorithm, that how we can find out the intermediate coordinates of the arc of an octant so that we can draw the circle. Okay. So what are the advantages of midpoint circle drawing algorithm? Basically advantages are, it is powerful and efficient algorithm. The entire algorithm is based on the simple equation of circle, that is x square plus y square equals to r square. Okay, and it is easy to implement from the programmer's perspective, because you can also see the decision parameter, that was only 1 minus r. The value, the equation for that is to start the iteration. So it is very, very easy or simple for the programmer's perspective to program this algorithm. Okay, and this algorithm is used to generate curves on raster display. Remember raster display? What was raster display? Displaying line by line, whole screen. If we are scanning the line whole screen line by line, then it was raster scanning technique. So using raster scanning technique, it helps to generate the curves on raster display, this algorithm. Now what are the disadvantages of midpoint circle drawing algorithm? So accuracy of the generating point is an issue in this algorithm. So it is not so accurate comparatively, and the circle generated by this algorithm, obviously if it is not accurate, then the circle generated by this algorithm will not be so smooth. Okay, and this algorithm is time consuming. This algorithm is time consuming. So these are some of the disadvantages of midpoint circle drawing algorithm. So in case of the graphics, we have learned how to draw a line or a circle using different algorithm techniques. Now we will understand about the transformation. Once the figure is been made, how to transform that. If a line has to be translated from one position to the other, or to be rotated, or it has to be reflected, or it has to be, what should be the procedure of doing this transformation? So transformation is basically the image remains same, only the viewing of that image changes. So how we can do the transformation? So there are certain methods, procedure to transform accordingly, if a scaling, reflecting, or translating, or rotating. So we will see in the matrix form, homogeneous matrix form, how we can do these transformation. So transformation of points and lines. Transformation of points and lines we will study. So basically it means changing of an image from current position to new position by applying certain rules. So current position to new position. Okay. So geometric transformation are the transformations or changes in size, shape, location, etc. accomplished by altering the coordinate description of an object. Okay, that is rotating, obviously shearing, reflecting, scaling. So there are two types of transformation. First is 2D transformation and second is 3D transformation. And basic geometric transformation which involve this 2D or 3D transformation, those are, sorry, this numbering is wrong, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So first is translation or move, second is scaling, third one is rotation, fourth one is mirroring or reflection or flip, and fifth one is shearing. So these are some of the geometric transformation about which we will learn, and learn how to transform any point or line using these transformations. Okay. So starting with 2D transformation, then we will come up to come on 3D transformation. So starting with this 2D transformation, when transformation of coordinates takes place in 2D plane or xy plane, so it is called 2D transformation. Okay. So if it is in xy plane or 2D plane or any 2D plane, then the transformation is known as 2D transformation. Okay. So a line, simple line in a single plane where the coordinates in are 2D, x1, y1, x2, y2. So this type of transformation is 2D transformation. So 2D obviously same, 2D translation, 2D scaling, 2D rotation, 2D mirroring, and 2D shearing. We will learn about these transformation one by one. So starting with the transformation, we will learn about these transformation one by one, starting with the first one, that is 2D translation. So 2D translation, or we can call it as move, or we can call it as shift. Then what we do in this translation? Actually we have to move something. From the name itself, if we have to move or shift something, some point from one position to another position, then it means we are doing a transformation, which is we call as translation. So how that transformation can be done? Let we say a point is to be moved, that is xy, to the new position x dash y dash. Okay, and for this purpose, for moving this point from this xy to x dash y dash, xy has to move this much distance in x and y direction, that is tx and ty. So this has the point xy has to be translated or move or shift by this amount tx ty to get to the new position, that is x dash y dash. Okay, so it is the repositioning or shifting an object, repositioning or shifting an object along a straight line path, that is translation distance, which is given as tx ty, from one coordinate location to another without deformation. Without deformation, this is important. So all the geometric transformations are done without deformations. The basic geometry of the object will remain same while doing these geometric transformations. Okay. Now, for example, consider a point object O has to be moved from one position to another in a 2D plane. You can see here, this is a point object O which has to be moved from O to O dash, that is new position. Okay, and for this O has to be located on the O dash, it has to move some distance, and the distance in x direction is tx and distance in y direction is ty. So this distance, it has to be translated to get to the new position. So we can see here that the initial coordinate of the object O is x old and y old. Okay, and new coordinates of O after translation is x new and y new. Translation vector or shift vector, the amount which this coordinate has to be translated is translation vector or shift vector, the amount which this coordinate point has to be moved is tx and ty. So given a translation vector, that is tx ty, tx defines the distance x old coordinate has to be moved, and ty defines the distance y old coordinate has to be moved. So tx and ty are the basic translation vector. So if we add this distance to the old coordinates, then we can get the new coordinates of the new point, that is O dash. Okay, so x new will be x old plus tx, and y new will be y old plus ty. So in matrix form, if I write this in matrix form, then this will be the matrix form. And if I make it 2D homogeneous matrix, then 2D homogeneous matrix will be in the form of xy1. So we can write this matrix in this form, that is x new, y new 1, xy1, and here 1 0 tx 0 1 ty 0 0 1 multiplied by y old, x old, y old and 1, and this will result to the coordinates of a new point of the matrix. So this is we call this matrix we call as the translation matrix. So we will learn the transformation matrix for each transformations, like one of the transformation matrix is this translation matrix. So we will learn about rotation also, we will learn about shearing also, we will learn about scaling also. So we will learn them, and we will obviously try to practice the numerical on each method, on each transformation. Okay. Now come to 2D rotation. So first one we have done is translation, now is rotation. So in computer graphics, 2D rotation is a process of rotating the object with respect to an angle in a two-dimensional plane. So I am basically considering about a 2 dimension. So for 2 dimension, what is 2D rotation? It means we are rotating an object with respect to an angle in a 2D dimension. So basically here we can see a old point is O, which is to be rotated by angle theta. So here this point O is to be rotated by angle theta to come to a new point O dash. So old coordinates were x old and y old, and the new coordinates are x new and y new after rotating it by some angle theta. Okay, so we can learn here. So let initial coordinate of the object is x old and y old. Initial angle of the object with respect to the origin is phi. Rotation angle, the amount which this point has to be rotated, rotation angle is theta, and the new coordinates of the point after rotation theta is x new and y new. Okay, so we can see here x new is what? X old cos theta minus y old sin theta. So the new coordinate for this x will be x old x cos theta, x old cos theta minus y old sin theta, and the new coordinates for the in terms of y is x old sin theta plus y old cos theta, and this we can represent in the form of a matrix, and in the form of the matrix it will be written like this: for x new and y new, this will be the matrix which is we call as rotation matrix, that is cos theta minus sin theta cos theta. So this is the rotation matrix, new transformation matrix when we do rotation. So applying for this 2D matrix, so this will be the 2D matrix: x new y new 1, cos theta minus sin theta 0, sin theta cos theta 0, and 0 0 1. So this is basically the rotation matrix for the 2D plane. I hope understood about this rotation and translation matrix. In the next lecture we will learn about scaling, sharing and reflection, and we will also do some numericals, practice some numericals to understand how we can do these transformations. Okay, thank you. Jai Hind.